What's up, guys? Sunday, windy day here in Florida. I'm back. I did make a video prior to this, but forgot I left the camera in slow-mo and filmed 20 minutes worth of me talking in slow-mo. So yeah, I had to make a new one. Here we are. It's Sunday, and it's real windy, so I'm sorry about the wind noise. Hopefully my phone cancels it out. And this is what's left of my truck after that track day. If you haven't seen the last video, check it out. Some cool slow-mo stuff at the end. I was having issues with the battery, or the power rather, just like intermittently going out. I was losing steering. At one point you'll see me just kind of shoot off the track and you can hear me say something's wrong. And yeah, so I was losing power. I ended up driving through like a half a foot of water, man. Look at this thing. It's a mess. It's an absolute mess. And in the end, it was a rough day for me, but it was a good turnout at the track. Jeremy, him and his wife, they host an open track day once a month. If you guys haven't checked out those videos yet, you can go back. I have a few of them that I've filmed. Some runtime of myself, mainly the other guys out there because, of course, I don't have a 24/7 cameraman. So yeah, let me nothing externally broken here. Let me let you see what we're working with. And you'll see this MacGyver situation that I got going on here. As soon as I got to the track and powered everything up, got her started, I was having trouble turning it over, and I snapped the pull stop. I'm sorry, I did get it turned over. I took a quick few laps around the track, getting feel for things again, and I cased the double, and when I did, it came down hard and it stalled out. Well, I didn't think to look to see if maybe my spark plug wire came undone, but it had. I'm over here yanking on this thing, right? Rah, rah, rah. Finally, I snap it. The original G320 pull start, I finally snapped it. It was on its way out anyway. Well, I noticed that the plug is, when I go to change it, one of the guys up there, Chris, you guys have heard me mention him before. He always shows up with plenty of extra parts. Sold me a pull start for $10. Jeremy happened to have the kit for the boot, for the new boot, in the little gold terminal. It's like $3 a DDM. Guys, I don't know why I hadn't done this before. I didn't realize it was so easy to install. Well, Jeremy's the owner of the track, and of course he knows his way around these things probably a little more than, a little better than I do, I'd say. A lot better. So he gave me that because my spark plug was so destroyed. You guys seen it. It had tape around it. It was already destroyed from when the roof hit it. And again, you could see the top of the roof there where it hit. So I ended up installing a new pull start, installing a new spark plug boot, all within a matter of like an hour. Get it fired up, get it out there, it's doing that thing again where it's stalling. It's like intermittently, it's almost as if somebody's holding the button for a second and releasing it, holding it and releasing it. The kill switch is killing it for a second, right? I know it's not the tune. I check everything. I go through all the wiring, make sure everything looks good. Everything looks good. I go through the settings in the kill switch. Everything looks good. Well, in the end, I made the decision. You know what? I'm just, I'm done. Well, the owner, he says to me, "Listen, dude, if you want to run without a kill switch, run it. It's you're taking your chance." What do? I take him up on the offer and I run it without a kill switch. And of course, it had nothing to do with the kill switch. And I'll explain in a second, but 10 minutes on the track, I go to get off the track because I'm noticing, again, it's still having an issue. It's like I'm losing power, and it takes off on me. Dude, guys, it headed towards a group of people, kids. One of the new guys and his buddy, they brought their family. They had kids and lawn chairs. It took off, of course, full throttle, wide open throttle, right at this dude's family. And I'm thinking, you got to be shitting me. It's going to hit him. It's going to hit one of the kids. I'm chasing after it. Luckily, it hits a toolbox. It goes to the right a bit, hits a toolbox, and kind of shoots up in the air and hits the fender of this like $50,000 F350 Harley-Davidson edition and doesn't do any damage, but it lands on its back. I get it shut off, help the dude pick up his toolbox. They're cool about it. In the end, thank God nobody got hurt. At that point, I'm like, dude, it's not the kill switch. There's something else going on here. I noticed right before I took it off the track and it took off that the transmitter was blipping, like the battery was blipping out, and it was low alarm, low voltage alarm, and you know, it would go off and then it would come back on, go off, and it was only when I was under full throttle or brake or steering or something it was happening at those points, right? The battery had a full charge. I know it did. So I'm thinking, what the fuck is this 6-volt Venom pack getting wonky on me or something? You know what I mean? So I'm like, all right, I got another pack. I'll change it out. Change it out to this. You know, it wouldn't give me a lot of runtime, but it was my first experience with a Life, and I didn't want to spend a lot of money. So, long story short, when I go to change it out, I noticed that the power wire down in here, which they don't give you much, was like all chafed. And the negative side was, you could see the frayed metal. I have a feeling what was happening was the low voltage signal, or the no power rather, was causing it to die. So it had nothing to do with the kill switch, had nothing to do with the battery pack. It all had to do with this. So I'm gonna cut these. I'm gonna solder them, extend them, and do it right, and make sure they're protected this time with some good, you know, wire insulation or wire sheath. The crazy thing is when I decided not to run the kill switch prior to it taking off, all I did was unplug my kill switch. And if you guys have seen my previous videos, I run it through here, through one of these holes, and I connect it, and it kind of connects right down below here. Doesn't touch the drive cup. I zip tie it to the post for the servo mount. Probably should have ran it this way, but I didn't have enough wire coming. Long story short, it wasn't ideal. But when it flipped over on its back, the wire with the JST connector must have hit the drive cup, and it ripped it off. So now I had no connector, but I wanted to run my kill switch again. So I just hardwired it. I took some wire that I had, and I hardwired it so that there wasn't any connection, no way to unplug the kill switch, right? But when I did, I rerouted the wire, and it was too close to the damn pinion. And the big thick wire with the signal interference cap on it and everything, the one that runs from your coil, that got caught in the pinion and ripped up. And that happened 10 minutes after that, you know, after I had hardwired this. So now I had to literally cut a battery that I had and connect, you know, make a connector so that I'd have enough wire to cut back that. And dude, what a nightmare. And all this time, everybody's running, having a good time. I'm over here dicking with this. And in the end, had I figured out that that was the issue, I wouldn't have had all these problems, you know. So it's just one of those things, guys. Check out your wiring. The way it comes through this box, it does get pinched up in there when you got a battery in there, and it doesn't take much. So what I'm going to do from now on is make sure that that wire is protected really well. Maybe put some shoe glue in there in the actual hole so it's not rubbing against plastic. I'm going to make sure that it's got shrink wrap on it. I'm going to do it right. And I won't run into that issue. But the main reason I wanted to make this video, those DDM bead locks are awesome, by the way. I'm happy with those. Is this shit. In the end, I did get all that MacGyver kill switch shit taken care of. In the end, this is what took me out. Look at this shit. Look at this. KingMotor dropped the effing ball. Snapped it right at the loop, right at the ball loop, and there was a piece of it still on the shaft. So I'm twisting it. One of the other guys had a low-C, ball end. He was going to give it to me, and it's just spinning. We can't get it off. Now I got the owner of the track, Jeremy, over there trying to help me. He's like, "What the fuck is going on here?" So what we end up finding out is that KingMotor, instead of threading it, they basically pinched it. It was like a, it was kind of just, it had two pieces of plastic that fit in these grooves, and it kind of just locked on there like a pressure fit, like, you know what I'm saying? It's junk, can't be replaced. And now we know why KingMotor does not sell replacement parts for their shocks, because they're shit. So while this is happening, and I'm dealing with this. One of the guys, the guy that I almost took out his whole family, happened to have a KingMotor too. He shows up off, trackside with his truck in tow, and he's got the same exact issue. So both of us were left assed out unless somebody had a low-C shock shaft that we could change out. I don't even know if these are nutted, with a perch, with a ball end, and too much to ask trackside. If you don't have the pots, you're out of luck at that point. So yeah, I need to replace all 4 shocks. I can't show up at the track like this. KingMotor, you guys definitely screwed us. And what I planned to do was maybe just buy some low-C shock shafts and replace them, but I'd have to buy the ball ends as well and change all 4 of them. And at that point, amount of money and time involved, I may be better off just getting a set of Rovin shocks, because Rovin does actually have screw-on ball ends, so they can be interchanged with low-C. So this is just a kind of an FYI, guys. This is bad news, man. Don't show up to the track with KingMotor shocks unless you have an actual entire shock to replace a broken one. I had something in the works. Somebody was going to give me a set of low-C rears just for now. That way there, but I ended up ordering a set of those 10mm, the new Rovin 10mm LT shocks, the ones with the bleeder cap. They're beefy as hell. They're on sale, $72 a pair. If you haven't seen them yet, AliExpress is selling them. They're basically like the IRC, they're a clone version of the IRC shock, and they look really beefy. They're all alloy, so we'll see how that goes. And eventually I'll get a set for the front too. Hopefully I don't break a front, because, if I broke a front, I'd be screwed. Yeah, so that's that, man. That really sucks. They left us stranded with that bullshit. Good news is that FS clutch, the balls with the bottle on carrier. I had the little bit of runtime that I did get. You guys will see in the video. I made sure that I got all of my runtime, in the video, and that this thing ran great. The engine ran great. Again, I can't say enough about the pipe. These couplers back here, I can't say enough about those. Haven't had any issues with them since I installed them, those quick couplings. So far, so good. This switch, now that it's all destroyed, I could, rewire it, solder it, and make it look decent again. But the owner of the track was nice enough, and I'm very thankful, to send me a brand new dynamite kill switch. Overnighted it to me. Here you go, dude. Merry Christmas kind of a scenario. Sometimes it's beyond me why people help, why people are willing to help other guys out. So, because, he didn't have to do that, He just was generous enough to say, listen, dude, you had a bad day. Here's a kill switch that I know is going to be reliable when you show up to race your truck at my track. And, yeah, so that's in the bag. It's in the other room. I just got to install it. Those switches are the balls, by the way. It comes with the light. Comes with the little, what do you call it? I don't know what you would call it, but the little cap that you would fit the light through if you're going to mount it somewhere. And he said it's basically small enough that it'll just fit all in here, and you can kind of run it behind and up right to here. So you'd have nothing going, on this portion of the motor here. So yeah, I'm going to switch out the kill switch. Pretty much, I think we're done with the iKilly on this rig, and eventually maybe I'll use it on another rig. I don't know. I could leave it for the RPM and the temp, because it should still read. I believe it was still reading RPM and temp. It didn't need to be hooked up to the coil. But I may, now that I'm going to be getting rid of it, I may switch to the dual. For what it's worth, I haven't heard anything bad, and I see enough dudes spending the money to do it. But the dual push-pull setup, one thing that I'm lacking when it comes to being competitive out there on the track, I'd say about 85% of the guys out there are running high-tech, $200 servos versus what I'm running, a low CS 900S stock 5T servo and a KingMotor throttle and brake servo. You'll notice in the video I was having some issues with my brakes. I set my endpoints on the bench, and I never tested them on the ground. So basically my endpoints weren't correct. I wasn't getting enough braking, and I was dealing with so many other issues. But by the time I would think about that, the truck would already have an issue. So at the end of the day, I came home with a new plug boot. So I'm going to be ordering another one. That way I can replace that for Jeremy when I get back up there. Yeah, got a new pull start, so that should last me a little bit. I was saying the FS clutch, I'm really happy with it. One of the other guys, the owner, Jeremy, he was running an FS clutch, and dude, you guys, if you haven't watched that video yet, watch it, man. He's running the white and bright orange 5T, and he's got the unibody. You know, it's all one body. I believe it is anyway. I forget who makes it. And he was kicking ass, man. Just absolute kicking ass. That truck rips. So, yeah, that's about it, man. I'm just, I guess, just trying to pick myself up and dust myself off, so to speak, and, you know, get back out there, which is, in the end, pretty much going to be a full tear down, I guess. I may as well. I have a little bit of time. I'm not sure when the next track day is going to be, but I think she's due. And it's too bad too, because if I hadn't ridden through that water, it wouldn't look like this, man. But I did. I had no control, lost control for a second, just enough to, you know, to end up in the middle of the 2 lanes, and bam, half a foot of water. As far as the other rigs are concerned, I did order the Vector, the Kraken Vector replacement upgrade for the universal, for the drive shaft, for the rear drive shaft. It's a U-joint that they created when they made the KVTT, the new trophy truck, and it's compatible with the Vector, you know, with the original Vector. So that's what I broke that day. If you haven't seen that video, go back and check it out. Apparently it's a common issue with the Vector, and you know, same goes for the G5. So I bought that. It was about 29 bucks. That's on its way. And I also, because of the issue I had with the SCZ, after talking with some people, I ended up ordering a gasket kit. I found a company that has them on AliExpress for 15 bucks. It's a full gasket kit for that engine. And so that's on its way. But I found out after the fact in the comments that BZM, which that engine is a clone of the BZM, they use a gasket, like a liquid gasket maker. They don't use an actual gasket. And so I may just do that. So I bought it today. I bought the equivalent of Yamabond. It's like a, you know, a motor seal. It's made for engine cases and things like that. But I bought the Permatex version. And it's, you know, so we'll see. I may use the gasket in conjunction with that. I don't know. I may just save the gaskets, use the gasket sealer for now, and see how it does. So the Baja is going to see an overhaul, you know, kind of an overhaul based on the engine being out. I may as well just deal with some other things. The steering issue, I'm not really sure which way I want to go. That sim steer setup seems to have its downsides. You know, you lose battery tray, you have no space for battery. People are saying that the spring in the sim steer setup is a piece of shit as well. So I may just, you know, may go with the Turtle spring and see if it works on that clone setup that I have. You know, the clone version of the Turtle Racing steering wiper arm setup. I tried to crisscross the spring on mine, my Baja, on the steering servo wiper arm setup. You'll notice some of them on the internet show the spring crisscrossed like this, as opposed to just sitting on each side of the posts. And when I tried to crisscross it to give the spring more tension, of course, the cylinder portion of the spring gets smaller, and it was too small for the post at that point. It was too small to slide onto the post. So that particular spring is not made to do that. I thought maybe, oh, wow, you know, they sent it to me set up wrong, and I just assumed that was the way it goes. It's supposed to have the spring kind of crossed over the other one, so it's really tight. And if you've looked at those things, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, you don't. I'll move on. But yeah, so I'm going to deal with that. The chassis has a slight bend from when my Baja was brand new and I didn't have a kill switch and I clipped a tree. It's got a slight bend up front, so I may just replace the chassis with that lightened one for 47 bucks. Plan on ordering some 6-spoke wheels, Baja 5B, you know, so that they're a bit fat out back and a little skinnier up front. And I'm going to do the slicks. Cheapest I can find them is 105 bucks for the set. You know, already mounted and foamed up, and I want those for all 3 of my rigs. Hopefully they work. If you'll notice sometimes, like for example, if you tried to put these wheels on, you'll notice sometimes the thread going from Baja versus like LT or Baja versus Losi 5T, the thread on the actual hub is longer, or I'm sorry, the depth on the wheel, the way the wheel sits on there, some of the wheels have a shorter depth and some have a longer depth, to where you won't have enough room to thread your nut on. I thought they were all pretty much universal, but they're not. So I'm hoping those wheels will fit the Kraken Vector at least, and I know they'll fit my Baja. Because I want to start running my Baja in parking lots and shit, and really dial that SCZ engine in and see if I can have some fun with that thing, man. See how fast it really is. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much where I'm at. I also found that SCZ makes an upgraded plenum, or manifold rather, out of Teflon. The day that I was having the issue with the blown gasket, the carburetor was starting to heat soak, and if you look at an SCZ engine in most of the pictures, you'll see that the manifold is this green color. It's kind of like a light green. And when I was searching for the gasket kit, I found that they make a Teflon replacement. So I imagine they acknowledged the issue there, as did OBR and a number of other companies that make reed case engines. And they designed a Teflon manifold. So I ordered that for $20. That's on its way. So yeah, and I'm making some progress on that Red Cat Gen 7. I noticed my man Boda Gel went out and got himself 2 Gen 8s. Those things are awesome. I was standing there looking at one yesterday at the hobby store, and if I wasn't already knee-deep in upgrades for the Gen 7, I probably would have pulled the trigger. But I also have a little something in store. I'm planning on buying a bigger engine for the Ghost, and I went to my storage space, got my silencer for the pipe, so I can run it at the track, and I'm going to try to make that work so that it doesn't fall off up there. And we're going to see what a Rovin 45 will do in that G5 at the track, coming soon, hopefully next track day. I plan on ordering it either today or tomorrow, whenever. It's just a matter of me pulling the trigger. So yeah, man, stay tuned, guys. We got some hopefully some good runtime videos coming, because this is our summer here in Florida. Your winter is our summer. And I'm thinking, okay, yeah, a used kill switch, hell yeah. He knows the hell I went through the other day. My kill switch is all chewed to shit now. Looks like something MacGyver got a hold of on crack. And yeah, so what do I get? A brand new kill. I reached out, I texted him today. I said, dude, this thing's brand new. He says, Merry Christmas.